Keep your shirt on, Bobby. We'll be there in 3.
I didn't even get to finish my ramyeon!
Why do they always interrupt our snacking?
Hi, welcome back to the Key Takeaways channel. I'm Em. If you're new around here, welcome in and take a seat and grab some tea. If you're not new around here, shout out to y'all for subscribing and supporting this channel as a fam, and don't forget to like the video. So for today's video, we're actually going to talk about K-pop Demon Hunters, and also I want to plug the makeup palette I did for the video, which is actually based off of Mira, one of the singers in the group Huntrix from K-pop Demon Hunters. I feel like I relate to Mira the most based off like her personality and her background, even though I feel like usually I come off more so as like Zoe, but honestly, I feel like I'm a blend of all three, but I do relate to Mira the most. So in the event you've been living under a rock, K-pop Demon Hunters had a massively successful year this year, using a medium that was already popular and really taken over globally, with that medium being K-pop. Ironically enough, I'm at most a casual K-pop fan and not a K-pop stan, despite a lot of my aesthetic, since also I read the decorated through. But overall, I do appreciate the art. I think one of the reasons this movie had massive success and impact this year is because we didn't have much of a summer blockbuster in the States. We definitely had potentials with Sinners, Superman, and kind of Fantastic Four. Okay, maybe not that last one, but we did have potentials, and Sinners specifically had its own blockbuster cultural impact. But it was a very adult movie, while K-pop Demon Hunters was geared towards kids and family. And let's be real, family-based movies and media will win every time, despite the growing number of openly nerdy adults finally having adult monies to indulge in their special interests. So I'm actually not going to recap K-pop Demon Hunters as a movie. I watched it twice and enjoyed it. But today we're going to explore its broader impact, how the movie intertwined its message with Korean culture and aesthetics, which led to even more people getting into K-pop, K-beauty, and maybe overall Korean culture, and how we're seeing the K-pop stars from that movie at these big events like the recent Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. In other words, how K-pop Demon Hunters did soft power right, but also perhaps what US media could learn from K-pop Demon Hunters' successes. So the central theme of K-pop Demon Hunters essentially revolved around familial or family expectations and generational secrets, and navigating the process of self-acceptance through music. It also showed this theme of unity in the face of soul-stealing demons. If you're a former choir or music kid and appreciate a deep cut, it could also be interpreted as accepting that your voice is no longer in the soprano range, but more of the mezzo-soprano / alto range. But this wasn't a new concept of themes and lessons we could follow from the movie, right? This was a very sort of linear story overall, but the story was told in a way unique to at least more Western or US audiences. In an era where there's not a lot of what we now call third spaces, digital or otherwise, spaces where kids, preteens, teenagers can hang out and be themselves, especially in the US, a movie that's reflective with good K-pop music also sort of filled that void, and even touched on the current work grind culture. We saw that specifically with the main character Rumi pushing Golden, their latest single, right after their tour at the beginning of the movie, since they were so close to solidifying at least their first attempt at the Golden Honeymoon. And we kind of see this return on this commentary of work grind culture at the end of the movie, where they finally were able to go to the bathhouse and relax. But of course, while they were slated for like a 3-month vacation, they once again sort of cut that short, but in a more positive light, I guess, because they wanted to sort of hang out with their fans. But let's go back to something I mentioned earlier and talk about soft power. Soft power was coined around the 1980s and describes the country's ability to influence others without resorting to coercive pressure. In practice, that process entails countries projecting their values, ideals, and culture across borders to foster goodwill and strengthen partnerships. It's really not a new concept when you think about it, but we got to see it sort of work in real time with the K-pop Demon Hunters effect after the movie was released on Netflix, and the movie used Korean aesthetics and culture throughout instead of animating it through a purely Western or American lens. And the movie overall really exhibited South Korea's cultural impact through its music, obviously, but also its spirituality and folklore with the tiger and magpie, and its distinctions between the realm of the living versus the realm of the dead, as well as its language. Its main songs that we heard throughout the movie actually had the Korean language interwoven in them, so it was a mix of English and Korean words in those songs. And we see throughout the movie that the scenes had Korean signs and logos since the movie basically took place in South Korea. So the movie didn't just have an immediate impact in views and song downloads, but the K-pop singers EJ, Raymi, and Audrey Nuna, who provided the singing voices for the main characters, have shown up at numerous events, specifically in the US, like the VMAs, late night shows, and recently the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And overall, we accept this as the normal impact of a movie that apparently had a really global effect on its audience. That said, there is and has been a good bit of soft power influence from South Korea generally, and this was sort of a perfect storm capitalization moment for the movie K-pop Demon Hunters. And this isn't a bad thing at all. In fact, the point of soft power is for a country or region to project their values, ideals, and culture across borders to foster goodwill and strengthen partnerships. Unlike hard power, which typically involves a military force and economic sanctions to convince other countries to bend to their will. So what lessons could US media learn from K-pop Demon Hunter's success this year? Well, let's take a look at one media conglomerate, which is Disney. Disney's been going through a weird time with waffling between its 3D animations and themes, hand-drawn animations, live-action remakes. Please stop doing those. Or at least pause doing those unless it's strictly animals. For some reason, Mufasa actually worked pretty well as a live-action with animals. But overall, just please, Disney. We could stop with the live action remakes, honestly. And there's also its recent investment deal with OpenAI, specifically Sora. And as a side note, can I just say, as a Kingdom Hearts fan, I hate that the company chose the name Sora. And also, I'm sure this will end great to have unregulated generative AI be involved in a giant media conglomerate. I guess we'll see. So maybe the lesson here is to perhaps get back to some simpler roots and formulas with modern twists. K-pop Demon Hunter was a simple story with modern songs and animation that also kept its Korean roots by intertwining aspects of Korean spirituality and folklore as well as its language. Additionally, gaming-based movies like Super Mario Bros., Sonic, and Minecraft have seen broad success since the gaming industry has remained really strong with kids and families. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to think of other lessons when third spaces in media, well, in general, have been wiped over time. But going off of gaming-based movies, maybe US media can keep taking note of these sort of hybrid third spaces in media like gaming, K-pop / K-culture, and other things that are pretty easily accessible and still enjoyable for kids and teens. But yeah, let me know what you thought about K-pop Demon Hunters if you watched it. Maybe Sony will take note and we'll get another movie that becomes a super cross-cultural phenomenon. But that's all for today. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to like this video if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can see more videos like this one. Be sure to follow me on my socials of Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, as well as my Substack, M's Musings, where I do weekly articles about different things in media and a little political analysis as well. If there's anything you want me to cover, be sure to put it in the comments as well, and I will see you all next time.